Hey guys, Turret here, bringing you the 6th installment of Micro Tips and Tricks for Company of Heroes 2. First up, we have parking vehicles on dropped weapons. Imagine this scenario where a weapon is dropped, however you have no squads nearby to pick it up, and it looks like your opponent is about to collect it. If you have a vehicle nearby, try parking on top of it. This makes it extremely hard for your opponent to right click on the weapon to pick it up, especially from the standard camera angle. As you can see here, being parked on the weapon allows only a very small region which offers the pickup command. Being parked on top of the weapon does not prevent it from being picked up. Next up is setting up the Flak half-track on the move. So the standard scenario, you're driving around with your Flak half-track, you spot a squad, you stop your Flak half-track, it sets up and then it starts to open fire. However, during this setup time it is quite vulnerable to the squad closing in and firing off an AT snare, or simply running out of the half-track's range. Instead, if you use the attack move command to move around, it will start setting up while still on the move, greatly reducing the amount of time before it starts to fire. Using attack move to move around when there are no enemies nearby, it will behave normally rather than setting up on the move. When using attack move and your half-track is setting up whilst on the move, be sure not to issue another command such as targeting a squad, as this will cause the setup timer to restart. Next up, we have using attack ground to target heavy tanks' rear armour. So let's say you're slugging it out against a heavy tank, close range, but the heavy tank is on a slight angle. Left to its own devices, your tank will target the high frontal armour. Instead, you can use attack ground to target the rear of the tank, where the armour is significantly weaker. Now as you can see, I target slightly the wrong spot and end up missing the first two shots, so this does increase your chance to miss, especially if the target is moving at long range where the scatter will be much greater, or a smaller target size such as a medium tank. When you consider the differences in penetration chance between front and rear, you will notice that you can afford to miss a large percentage of the shots, and this method will still be more effective than simply targeting the front. So it's up to your judgment to decide whether the risk versus reward is worthwhile in each situation. Next up are a couple tips to do with mines. Engineers do not require a minesweeper to defuse mines. If the mine is being detected by a different squad with a minesweeper, even without a minesweeper themselves, they are able to defuse it. So using multiple engineers even with just one sweeper is a very effective way at taking down a large field of S-mines. Sometimes when you reveal a mine, it is not safe to go forward and defuse it, such as if it has been covered by a machine gun. In those cases, often a good idea is to kill it using attack round on your tank, indirect fire or similar. It is not possible to build a mine on top of an enemy's mine. Note that when I go to build a mine and I hover over the region with the enemy's mine in it, it does not come up red, the usual sign that you cannot build a mine in this location. However, when I click to build the mine, the engineers do not start construction, giving away the fact that there is a mine here. Use this to check for mines in common spots, or if you spotted your opponent planting a mine but weren't sure if they completed it, this method can also come in handy then. Sometimes when you spot a mine, rather than defusing it, a good idea is to plant one of your own right next to it. This way, when your opponent comes through this region, your mine exploding will set off his mine, damaging his own troops. The next set of tips are about tripwire flares. Planting a tripwire on top of an enemy mine will not cause it to explode when the tripwire is set off. However, tripwire flares can set off demolition charges. Place the tripwire on top of a demo charge for an automatically exploding demo. Demo charges also have an unusual feature. When set off in the regular fashion by double clicking on them, they do regular damage. However, when set off by other explosions, they do bonus damage. Try using the Tripwire demo charge as a super mine against tanks. That's it for this installment, guys. Be sure to like, subscribe and share it with your friends, but not with your enemies. You can also support the continued production of these videos through my Patreon page.